What's up, ladies and gentlemen in G Show land? It is I, G1, and welcome to another episode of the G Show podcast. It's Friday, so you know what that means. It's time for a Friday Godzilla block party. And boy, do we have one hell of a show today. That's right, because yesterday... Oh, let me just... Before I jump into the news. See, I was so excited. I was ready to jump into the news. Let me introduce my guest today. As always, I got G95 hanging out with me. What's up, brother?
Hello, everyone.
That's right, and today we got another special guest hanging out with us on the G Show Friday Godzilla Block Party. You guys may know him as Megalon from the Megalon Facebook page. We know him as Chase. We're talking with Megalon, the admin of the Megalon page. Chase, man, how's it going, bro?
It's going great. I'm having a great night and ready to get this kicking off and have a great time.
That's right. That's what I like to hear. And we got a lot of stuff to get into, especially the big news that dropped yesterday, and that being Kraken Releasing, the company that brought us Godzilla vs. Gigan, Godzilla vs. the Smog Monster, Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster on DVD, has now announced they are bringing out 1984's classic Return of Godzilla on DVD and Blu-ray this September. It's official. This is not a bootleg. This is not a dream. This is real. We are going to get Godzilla, well, not 1985, but the Return of Godzilla, the uncut version with Japanese and English audio tracks. I am fucking stoked. Chase, you're new here. Let's start with you, man. How do you feel about this news?
I can finally complete my collection.
Yeah.
I'm missing maybe about 3 of the movies, I believe, but now I can finally finish my collection. And so I was kind of wondering if this would ever see the light of day in America, on a Blu-ray, because they have pretty much everything else. But I was actually, I don't know if you guys know the website, Monster Island Toys or something like that, or
Yes.
Monster Claw Toys, I think. But they have where you can buy DVDs, and they have an English version of Godzilla 1984, English dub on their website, but it's for $30. And so I was tempted to get that, but now I don't really have to. So I'm like, yes. So hopefully it'll be cheaper and not as expensive. So
Right.
Well, if you want since obviously the Kraken release isn't getting including the 1985 Americanized version, if you want the Americanized version on DVDs, there's a cool website called Sumo Gorilla. They basically make to order. They're bootlegs, but they're good bootlegs. It comes with the original Japanese version with subtitles and 1985, the Americanized version, and I got it, and it's like, I don't know, $13, $14.
and it's the DVD, right?
Yeah, it's definitely worth it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It's definitely worth it.
They also have, I think, a bunch of Japanese versions of stuff that isn't like the Japanese version of King Kong versus Godzilla and stuff like that. Stuff that isn't like officially out in the U.S. So it's a cool place to go if you want to beef up the collection. If you're like a completist that wants to have like everything.
Oh, I definitely want to have all the movies at some point.
Like all the different cuts and stuff. So they're a cool place to go to.
Yeah, that's where I picked up my copy of Return of Godzilla / Godzilla 1985, and I love it. It's a good DVD copy. I mean, yeah, granted it's bootleg, but it doesn't come off as bootleg. So
yeah, it's really good quality.
But that's all good now because we are getting the official version. Granted, we're not getting 1985. Those rights are still tied up with I forget what company.
World Pictures, I think.
Is it New World? Is it? Hang on, I'll tell you. Oh yeah,
The guys that want to release Shin Gojira.
Oh man, you know what?
New World Cinema. Oh, that's a different New World Cinemas or something like that, or if I'm mistaken.
Well, New World brought it out. That was the company that brought it out originally, but it is actually licensed right now by Anchor Bay, who grandfathered the rights to the localization in Toho International. They're disputing those rights. This is all coming from The Good, the Bad, and the Godzilla from August Ragone. A great spot for all my Godzilla news. That's where I go. I mean, if August Ragone writes it down, I believe everything he says because he checks his facts like 3-4 times, his sources. So very credible spot. So yeah, it's Anchor Bay that actually holds the rights to Godzilla 1985 with Raymond Burr. So we're not getting that, but we are going to get an English dub, which I'm very interested in seeing, to be honest with you. I want to see more for the voice acting because I do like the original 1985 dub. I still have that tape. I don't have... Oh, no, and I have the DVD. I just haven't watched the DVD. I still have the tape, and I thought the voice acting, the American voice actors would respect it, the source material. We had this conversation on last Saturday about dubbing and subbing and all that stuff, but Godzilla 1995, yeah, I honestly thought that they respected the source material. The dubbing wasn't kooky. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Kraken Releasing does with their dub version. I'm really looking forward to that, especially because it's the uncut version. I'm just... Man, you don't understand. Like, my excitement levels are through the roof for this. G95, man, what do you think? How do you feel?
Well, it's a movie that I for a long time was trying to track down, and it's like the elusive Godzilla movie that hasn't been released at all, ever on any official format beyond VHS.
In America, but in Japan, they got that Blu-ray, that beautiful box set too.
In America, and so this is like the elusive kind of it's our I don't know, I can't think of a good analogy. It's late over here. Something clever. All right. It's like it's not really the holy grail, but it's up there. It's the one we've been waiting for, and we're finally getting it. That's awesome.
No, I agree. I think for a lot of Godzilla fans, it is kind of like the holy grail because it is so elusive, always bogged down in rights. We've got pretty much every other Godzilla movie ever made at one point or another released, except for that one since its initial release back in 1985, 1986. And then I guess they reprinted a couple, let's say in the early 90s. But then that was it, and that's as far as VHS goes, and that was it. But
I did a few sets, like a few different copies of 1985 in various either like VHS collections or just kind of standalone tapes. So I mean, it was released a few times, but nothing beyond VHS.
Right.
Fortunately.
So Chase, let me ask you: should we start hero worshipping Kraken Releasing for this awesome news?
Well, if they can definitely pull this one off, I mean, you got to think too. What other movies are out there that we still don't have yet that are Blu-ray? If they can do this, which obviously they're doing, I'm sure they can make a lot of profit, especially for Godzilla fans. But it would be cool to see not only Godzilla movies, but other movies brought over here too, like War of the Gargantuas or any of the Ultraman movies too would be cool. Voyage into Space would be a cool one too. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what else they could bring over here too. I kind of have a little bit more faith in this group of people than that. Well, never mind. I should back that up because I'm getting the two New World Cinemas things mixed up.
Right.
I don't know where I read that, but I was going to say that I don't really... that company that wants to bring Shin Gojira over here, I don't really know too much about them, so they kind of sketch me out a little bit. But this Kraken Release group sound really professional and legit, so I'm excited to see if they can bring anything else over here too.
Well, I mean, they brought out I was so excited when Godzilla vs. Smog Monster was released on DVD because that's one of my favorite show movies. I watch that every year. I get into one of these zones. I'm like, yep, it's time to save the Earth. Throw this movie on. And when they released that, I was super stoked. I bought that one. I bought the Sea Monster, Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster. I didn't buy a Godzilla vs. Gigan, much to G95's dismay, because I know that he's one of his favorites, not one of mine. But now I'm actually going to buy that only to support them for doing what they're doing, bringing in Godzilla, Return of Godzilla. I think it's phenomenal.
What's sorry to interrupt,
Yeah.
but what's really cool about them is, Godzilla versus Hedorah, Godzilla versus the Sea Monster, Godzilla versus Gigan. All these movies were previously the rights were held by Sony, and the DVDs were out of print, and you had to spend an arm and a leg and be really good at eBay to track them down, and which I did, of course. Save for I think one or two, but they brought them, they got the rights, they put them back out, put them back in print, and gave us Blu-rays. So I mean, they've deserved our praise for a couple years now.
Do any of you know who owns the rights to 1974's Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla? Because honestly, I had that on DVD. It released maybe a decade ago, if I'm not mistaken. And I remember buying that like a legit DVD copy, and now it's gone. And I don't know where it's at. And I'm pissed off because all my other Godzilla movies are right where they need to be. Unless I was dreaming.
Hardest one to find.
Huh?
It's also the hardest one to find.
I actually found that one at Walmart, but it was Sony. I found that Christmas of this year.
What?
In the DVD section. Yeah, my Walmart where I was at was doing a Godzilla thing, and they had a whole bunch of old movies, and I bought it for my friend for Christmas.
Man, I wish I was your friend.
Yeah. Oh, we are my friend.
Well, yeah, but I wish I wish I was your other friend.
Backing up to the Kraken release thing real quick.
Yeah.
I just realized that it's been under my nose that they are the ones that have released those movies, because I just got Sea Monster and Godzilla vs. the Smog Monster for Christmas myself on DVD, and it's funny, I never noticed that it says Kraken Release on the back of it. And now that I remember, now I visualize it, I can pinpoint on the box where it says that now. So it's kind of funny thinking about that now. I didn't realize it's this group of people, this company. So
Right.
I'm kind of like, whoa, mind blown.
And I want to touch on something you had said a little while back. Because exactly like what you just said right now, when I read the news today, at first I didn't believe it. I thought, come on now, stop getting my hopes up. This is crazy. Because, like you said, the Shin Godzilla thing, like a week or two ago, where some company was saying they were going to bring it out, or they were trying to distribute it. They were going to get the distribution rights to bring it out theatrically, and a lot of G fans they fell right into that trap, and I paid it no mind. I didn't put it up on the G Show page or nothing like that, because I was like, this is an incredible source. Like, I have no idea what this company is. Nobody seems to know anything. The people that would know are not saying anything. So I'm like, I don't trust this right now. And I know a lot of people were so sucked into that. I mean, whether it was in Godzilla groups or other Facebook pages, I was like, shit. And then, of course, if I'm not mistaken, it got outed. Like, that's not going to happen. It's a hoax. Whether it's a hoax or not, but these guys don't have anything to do with Shin Godzilla coming to the States. So when I saw the news today, I was at first very trepidatious, I think the word is, and then I was like, when I looked and seen who was bringing it out, I was like, oh shit, wait, these guys brought out 3 obscure Godzilla movies already. Fuck yeah, this is gonna happen. And then everybody started, one by one, the people I trust, like August Ragon, everybody started dropping it, boom, 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 and I was like, yo, we are totally getting Godzilla 1984 on fucking Blu-ray. And I'm going crazy. I cannot wait. The soundboard's going on. I'm putting that shit in. My neighbors are going to yell and complain and write me up at the office. I don't care. I will watch it really loud, like if I was in the movie theaters, because I never got to see it in the theaters, and I cannot wait for it. Yeah, so I spieled just there, and I apologize. G95, let me ask you the same question I asked Chase. Actually, I think you already answered it. We should start hero worshipping Kraken Release, correct?
Definitely. I can't wait to see what else they put out. Hopefully, they will get the rights to the handful of Showa movies that we haven't seen on Blu-ray yet.
Right, because
what's that?
Here's the thing, like, you know what I'm looking for? As much as I don't like this movie, but I'm looking for Godzilla's Revenge. Just for the completionist in me. I'm looking for Godzilla's Revenge. Son of Godzilla, I'm like, where's that? You know, I want that. Because Classic Media has given us Godzilla vs. Mothra, getting rid of the three-headed monster, Terra Mechagodzilla.
On Blu-ray?
I'm sorry?
On Blu-ray?
Oh, no, not on Blu-ray. Listen, to be perfectly honest with you, my Showa movies are fine with the DVDs. I'm totally cool with DVDs for the Showa era.
Mm-hmm.
As long as they're legit DVDs and the Classic Medias are legit, the Kraken Release, they're legit. I don't have Godzilla vs. Megalon or Destroy All the Monsters, but those are legit. King Kong vs. Godzilla, it's legit, even though they don't have the subtitles. So I'm kind of like, I'm really waiting for a subtitled version of that to come out. Because even though I grew up with the English dub, I like the subtitle version just a little bit better. But those...
Well, the big box set I have of a whole bunch of Showa movies from Classic Media has Godzilla's Revenge in there. And Son of Godzilla, I think, was a Sony release, and I think that may have gotten put back out by Kraken, possibly.
You know what? You're right with the Godzilla's Revenge thing. You're absolutely right. That was... Because, see, now that all these movies are coming out, when Classic Media first started bringing those movies out, I was just like, want, pass, want. But now that... Because, you know, like, we didn't know whether or not we were going to get something like the final box set that Toho dropped a couple of years back, 10 years ago. We didn't know we were going to get anything like that. So I was just like, all right, I'll pick and choose the ones I want. I didn't want Revenge. But now that we're getting all of these movies that we can actually legitimately say, I've got a complete set of Godzilla movies and I'm happy. Now I'm like, I got to go get it. So I forgot. You're right. Classic Media did come out with Revenge. And
there was a Sony release of Son of Godzilla 12 or so years ago, and Kraken might have put that one back out when they did the reissue of Smog Monster and Gigan and all those. But I'm not totally sure. But I know I have all of them on DVD and a couple on Blu-ray, except for 85, obviously. The one I have is a bootleg. But yeah, I've had a couple different sets with Classic Media sets with Godzilla's Revenge on there. And I know they did put them out individually too, but I got the one big box set that had all of their little individual releases put together.
Next paycheck, I'm going on Amazon and I'm searching. Chase, man, how many more movies do you need for your collection?
You know, what's fun? So I'm a '90s kid, and my dad was a huge Godzilla fan. And he got me into everything Toho and Japanese monsters. So I have him to thank. I had all of the movies on VHS, but then they all got warped moving. So after when I hit high school, you know, when I hit 13 or so, I got mostly into music. I wasn't into Godzilla at the time, even though he was still in my heart. I didn't get back into Godzilla till 2014 arrived. And
wow.
Now that 2014 has passed, I'm all about Godzilla again. And the little kid in me is just going crazy. Because I was maybe 2 at the time I got into Godzilla. And first thing I held on to. And so where I'm going with this is I ended up picking up all the movies I could over the past 2 years since 2014's been out, because I had a friend that has never seen Godzilla, and so I tried showing him all the movies, but I don't have them all.
Right.
But I think I need Destroy All Monsters. I need Godzilla versus Megalon, Mechagodzilla, Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, 74, and Godzilla 1984. I need that one on DVD, and I think that's it. Then Shin Gojira to add to the collection. when it somehow comes over here, possibly, who knows.
Right.
But so the past couple of years, I've been trying to stock up on the DVDs, and then my figure collection has increased too in the past year. So it's cool. It's getting back into a character I loved as a little kid, and it's like now I have something to do in my spare time too. Is have Godzilla as a hobby. So
right.
I just need those few movies and stuff. So I'm sorry if I cut off someone who was talking.
No, you were like exactly where I was maybe 3 years ago. I got back into Godzilla as soon as I got out of high school around 2013. So, that's when I started upgrading all my VHSs to DVDs and getting better versions and tracking down the figures and all that. And the one, like, I've admittedly fallen out of it a little bit lately, but, obviously doing this podcast with the G Show every week has piqued my interest a little bit more. And now I'm looking to upgrade all of them or as many as I can, to Blu-ray. But the ones that I hear a lot of people, like, don't have in their collection would be the ones that you listed: Destroy All Monsters, Godzilla vs. Megalon, and the 74 Megagodzilla. And 85, just because, or 84, 85, just because a lot of people don't know about Sumo Gorilla or Monster Island toys to get those.
I've never heard of Sumo Gorilla, so
yeah,
I'll have to check them out.
Yeah, I'll send you a link, because it's a great website. They have a ton of stuff on there, a ton of Ultra and Japanese cinema that we don't get here.
Do you guys have an Do you guys have an FYE where you're at for your entertainment store?
Not in my area. I think the one we had closed a while ago.
Yeah, I think in New York we had a couple, but then they started shutting down. I haven't seen any out here in Vegas.
Yeah, well, I got one about 30 minutes down the road, and they are stocked with Godzilla movies. Not the Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla isn't one I'm like worried about not getting, because they had at least 4. Because I went 4 of them. I went shopping Christmas over there, just getting a list and everything, and they had at least 4 of them, and they had a lot of many Gamera collections too. They have one section in their store dedicated to just giant monsters, and they had tons and tons of cool DVDs that I haven't seen anywhere else. And I was like, I haven't been to an FYE before, so.
Definitely pick up the Mechagodzilla one as soon as you can, because that's always one of the hardest ones to find. That one took me forever to find for a decent price.
And that's just it.
I'll be moving too, so it'll be time to get it before I move.
Yeah, that's just it. These prices, for like Destroy the Monsters, Megalon, and Mechagodzilla, you're looking at $30-$40. And I'm like,
oh yeah.
On one hand, I'm like, I could do that. Then on the other hand, it's like, just you might wait. If you wait just a little bit, maybe to get re-released, you never know, and then you could get them for $15. And I'm like, shit, man. Stop that.
Patience is virtue.
Yeah, seriously, it's true. It is so freaking true. But I'm still just excited that we're getting Godzilla 1984. We're getting a legit Blu-ray DVD. It's just I'm over the moon with that one. I'm over. To your point, what you were saying before about falling out with Godzilla and then getting back in at a certain point. It's funny, both of you guys saying that during high school you stopped, because during high school is when I fell back in love with it. Yeah, and it was because I just got the internet. It was all dial up, and I was like, what is this? What is this search engine stuff? Let me type in, and I'm like, how do we work this ZA? Boom, Godzilla, and then it started with like fan fiction. I was like, what the hell is all this stuff? And then I'm seeing these images, and I'm like, what the fuck? I have never seen Godzilla look like that in my life. And it was like Godzilla from Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, Godzilla vs. Mothra, Battle of Earth, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2. And I was like, what the hell is this? I've never seen Godzilla look like this before. I mean, I seen Biollante, but I didn't know they continued it. So I was blown away, and that's when everything started to rekindle. And then in '98, of course, we're getting an American Godzilla movie. I'm stupid hyped, but what really threw me over the freaking moon was Random House started putting out the books. Godzilla Returns, Godzilla 2000, Godzilla and the Lost Continent, Godzilla versus the Robot Monsters. I was hooked. I was in Barnes and Nobles whenever that shit came out. I was there getting those books. So and that was around my high school years. And then I think it was Christmas of '96. I got all the movies. I got all of them on VHS. My parents went. They went to a convention in New York. They bought them all. Video Dai Kaiju, and they weren't released in America or in the States, anything like that. There was no dubs for it, so it was all Japanese with the subtitles, and I fell in love, man. I fell in love all over again, and from that point on, that's when the G Show was created. From that point on, so we're talking 20 some odd years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
20 years or some more?
Yeah. About 20 years. That's my love for that monster's going strong. Stronger than it was, because junior high school I kind of chilled out a bit. You got to get cool. That's how I was. I got to be cool. But once high school came around, I was like, man, fuck being cool. I do what I want. I don't care. And my love for Godzilla took off. That was that. So.
Yeah. Yeah, with me in high school, I got into music, and I got really into Predator and stuff. So, and I was all about metal music and Predator, and then now that Predator and Alien vs. Predator are kind of just, I mean, we got the new Predator coming out, but I'm kind of iffy with Shane Black wanting to upgrade its design. But that can be talked about another time. But
you want to do a spotlight with us? We'll get you on a Predator spotlight. Trust me, no problem.
You definitely need to.
Yeah, because that's a great topic. But so closing out the first half of our Godzilla talk, we're all in agreement. September 13th can't come fast enough.
Yes.
You know what?
Not fast enough.
I gotta ask Shin Goji now, because Shinji had mentioned on Saturday that he was getting an early Blu-ray copy.
I just messaged him about that too.
Yeah. Did he fucking know something we didn't? Was he giving us a scoop? We could have had a scoop.
His response to me was, he's supposed to be getting one, and he has to contact his source. But that's all he said.
All right.
That bastard.
All right, we're all in agreement. We cannot wait for Godzilla 1984 / Return of Godzilla to come out. Chase, you getting it Blu-ray or DVD?
If I have the money, at the time it'll be Blu-ray.
Gotcha.
Because now I got my PS4, I can play Blu-rays. But I mean, I'm fine with the DVD either way, because I mean, I have all my Godzilla movies mostly on DVD anyways. I only have a few on Blu-ray. And I don't even know the ones I do have on offhand, what I have on Blu-ray. But if I can get it on Blu-ray, I will. But I'll be fine with DVD if I have to. So.
Gotcha. G95, DVD or Blu-ray?
Blu-ray, obviously. Around Thanksgiving time, I wasn't much of a Blu-ray guy. I mean, I had quite a few, but didn't have a TV that I could actually notice the difference. Around Thanksgiving is when I got a new TV. Got one of those super nice HDMI cords, like the HDMI Plus or whatever it's called. And just my mind was fucking blown about the difference. So now just about everything is Blu-ray, unless it's not out on Blu-ray and I have to go with the DVD.
That's funny you mentioned the TV thing. When my wife and I purchased our first big screen TV, I was like, yeah, here we go. We got it. We got the 40 inch. We got everything. Here we go. We're going to watch the awesome, because at the time I was in Best Buy and watching The Dark Knight. There was a sequence they kept playing over and over again from The Dark Knight when the Batmobile crashes and the Batpod comes out. So I was watching that in this big theater room, and I was like, oh my God, it looks so real. Look at this. It's like lifelike. I'm buying this TV right now. So we bought a TV. We didn't buy that TV because, again, I didn't know anything about specs or nothing like that. I was just like, it's expensive, pick it up. And it wasn't the TV. It didn't give us that look, that quality. I was kind of mad. And then like a year later, we had some cash and was like, let's get another TV. Now I knew the shit. I was like, yeah, we're gonna get the TV, 240 hertz. Let's go get this shit. We go pick it up, 3D Samsung, beautiful 40-inch. We plug in the Dark Knight and boop, game over. I was like, there we go. So to answer the question for myself, G1, Blu-ray or DVD, the answer is both. That's right. I don't give a fuck. Supporting the fucking cause. So let's jump into the topic of the day. That was the news. Let's jump into the topic of the day. And the topic of the day is something we discussed last week. Gareth Edwards leaving Godzilla 2. So I have a question. Being Gareth Edwards has signed off on Godzilla 2, whoever they get to come in and direct, do you think we're going to see more monster action? Or do you think they're going to try to follow and mimic what Gareth Edwards did in his initial setup? G95, let's start with you.
It's so hard to say at this point. We don't know anything about whether or not they're actually actively looking for someone else to take over Godzilla 2 right now, or if it's just kind of put on the back burner more or less to focus on, like, Skull Island, for example. It's just impossible to say. I mean, obviously, I think everyone would hope for more monster action, but I think given a different director, we might get a totally different tone. I'm not saying it'll be, maybe like lighthearted and jovial, but it might be less kind of like gritty and more kind of. We might be able to see some stuff actually in Godzilla 2.
I get what you're saying. It won't be as dark of the movie.
Mm.
Chase, what about you? What do you think? We're gonna get more monster action or what?
I think the guys at Legendary, especially Thomas Toll and his crew or whoever's going to be continuing forward with it, I think they know what the mistake was in the first film now. I think they were pretty compliant with reading everyone's issues and thoughts with the film. And I believe I remember one guy, Comic-Con last year, a guy that was working with the team on Godzilla, he got interviewed on the floor, like a 5-10 second interview, and he said, we know what the people want, and that's more monsters. So, but I don't know, if I can find that video, I'll definitely link it. Or maybe it was just a tweet or an interview, an article, I don't know. But I kind of have hope that I didn't mind Gareth anyways. I mean, I liked the film for what it was. I mean, yeah, of course, I wanted more Godzilla. But I think how they executed it was a lot better than what they could have. I mean, well, before I say that, better than, it could have been worse. Let's put it that way. But I hope, first we got to think about too, are we going to have Rodan, Mothra, and King Ghidorah and Godzilla in this film? Because if so, you can't have just 3 seconds of each monster, doing something. You have to have a big chunk of your film of these monsters, or else it's going to feel very unbalanced, and it's going to feel almost missing something very strong in the film. And there's a lot of talk right now going around that that's not the case. We won't see all 3 of the other monsters in this sequel, and I don't know. I'm not going to speculate that yet because that kind of hurts my brain thinking about it. But you know what? I hope it's just balanced. I could, if anything, I just want it balanced. I could care less if the whole movie was just mindless monsters beating each other. I mean, as much as that would be cool to see with Godzilla and everything, if the movie can pull off an equal balance of monsters, and if they're going to do characters again, story-driven characters, if they can balance that, I'll be fine with that. And then, have their ending finale traditional to how Godzilla is, where he just comes and it's just a big brawl with all of them. I mean, do that would be great.
I hear
But
that.
I hope to see more than what we did, in the last. So,
Well, hopefully the character-driven characters, more or less, actually have some backstory and power behind them, because that was one of my biggest complaints about 2014 movie.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
The characters were pretty terribly written.
Mm-hmm. I went and saw it for Bryan Cranston and Ken Watanabe, I say his last name wrong.
That sounds right to me.
I saw it for them, and when Bryan Cranston departed the film as early as he did, I didn't care for Aaron Taylor Johnson's part. He just didn't seem into it,
Yeah, that was the complaint that I had from the very beginning, because I watched an interview with him, and he said
exactly.
He said something along the lines of oh yeah, I was never even into Godzilla as a kid. I've only seen the original movie, which they made me watch, and he gave off that vibe of he wasn't really into it.
Yeah, that's how I felt too, and I saw the interview too, and that was exactly how I felt. I'm like, I don't like this vibe he's giving off, because if he's not into what he's going to be in, he's not going to give off a good performance. He's just going to half-ass it, and that's exactly what I felt like he did. I think more towards the end, it kind of got a little bit more better. He started giving more of an effort, but that first half of the movie, it was just, we don't care about Aaron Taylor Johnson. Just give us Bryan Cranston and whoever else. So I'm kind of I don't know where I was going with that now. I think I lost
You were
track.
saying so you wanted more. If you're gonna do the character driven, make the characters something we're gonna enjoy.
I started thinking about something else.
I totally agree. Listen, man, I love that film. To me, there's no wrong, but I don't give that film a perfect score because they knocked off Bryan Cranston way too early. Because I thought he would have been the perfect, between him and Dr. Serizawa, that would have been a perfect marriage of, because they're both phenomenal
Batman
actors.
and Robin.
Yeah, and to see them going back and forth off each other. This dude has been researching Godzilla for 20 years or so, and Bryan Cranston, he's been researching this mating call for 20 years, and oh my God, let's put our notes together. And I really thought that was going to happen. So that's why I don't give that movie a perfect score, is because Bryan Cranston bit the dust. Because if he didn't, and he continued to be, because he was great in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Every time, I'm telling you, when he's standing there and looking at his wife through that window, man, I get chills, man. I get choked up every time I watch it. Every time I watch, even when I said I'm not gonna do it this time. I'm not gonna do it this time. And then I crack a couple of cold beers and I guzzle them down, and then that scene happens, and I'm like, damn, man.
Gets a little misty in here.
Yeah, I love it. And that whole, I'll never forget when they were putting out little audio clips before the movie came out, and it was that one audio clip of him in the interrogation room, and he's like, "My wife died in there," and I was like, "Oh, you hear it." I was like, you hear it in his voice. He's great. He's perfect. And then they offed him. I personally had no problem with Ford Brody. He's one of my favorite characters in Godzilla because he didn't say much. All right, keep it quiet. Just keep moving. So I guess everybody got their just desserts when he got killed off in Avengers. But that's neither here nor there. Here's a theory how they could make all three monsters and Godzilla work, but it's not a theory. Actually, it kind of cuts itself in half. In Get Rid of the Three-Headed Monster, they did it phenomenally, but Rodan was already known, Mothra was already known. The only character they're introducing is King Ghidorah. But if they were able to have done something in that vein, it could have easily worked where they had all the monsters in it at the same time. Granted, and you got to remember too, this movie's definitely going to be like 2 hours. It has to be. So it's already going to have a longer running time than the Showa movies.
It better be 2 hours.
Oh, it better. You're not lying. I need 45 minutes of monsters. And then I think you have a perfect film. Yeah, especially with that. But here's a crazy idea. What if Skull Island, for whatever reason, sets Mothra up? I mean, why couldn't Mothra live on that island? I'm not saying...
I think it would be more likely for them to set up Rodan.
You think Rodan? Why? Because King Kong is synonymous with dinosaurs?
Yeah, more or less, yeah.
But that's just it. King Kong's also synonymous with the Empire State Building. We're getting something completely different. So why can't switch it up? You know?
There are also large insects on Skull Island too.
That's true. The giant worm caterpillar thing that bum rushed.
I'm kind of hoping they set up all 3 of them. I hope they somehow. I mean, I don't want to think ahead and be like, I hope this turns into Monster Island, but I just hope we get a little bit of like. I mean, for all we know, is Kong going to go up against some kind of enemy in Skull Island? I mean, is he going to go up against something?
That's a great question.
I hadn't really thought about that, but I mean, we don't really know anything at this point. What's the plot of the film? Just other than, Tom Hiddleston is leading a group of people on an expedition into this island to get some kind of syrup or healing syrup or something like that. They were saying.
Well, I'll tell you what. We got to see something. I mean, because you can't have a King Kong movie without him fighting anything.
Especially with him being as big as he is. It's kind of going to be underwhelming, I feel.
Right. I was just throwing that out there because we know they're going to connect it through Monarch.
Monarch, yeah.
So I'm so looking forward to. I really am. I'm like, huh. I wish Skull Island was coming out this year, but Comic-Con is right around the corner, and we should get something from Comic-Con in regards to that. And I said this on a previous podcast, because of all the issues right now, Legendary. And I don't think they're sweating just yet. All right, we pushed Godzilla 2 back. We still have it on the slate. The script is there. They've got something. And whether Max Borenstein wrote all those characters into the movie or not, the monsters, like I said the other day, maybe they started already designing things. They started doing something. And I would love... Or I'll tell you what, because they should do this. Release that damn trailer they put out, was it last year or the year before, when they announced Rodan, Ghidorah, and Mothra?
Mm-hmm.
Like, put that shit online. Put it online. I would go crazy. Not? I want to see that. I want to see, even if it's just silhouettes. And maybe a cackle here or there. I want to see that, Lucasfilm is great for doing that now, and I love them for that. They'll have whatever Star Wars celebration. They'll give you the whole panel live streaming. I watched it, and then when the trailer comes on, they'll close the panel off. You can't watch it, and then 5 minutes later, it'll be up on YouTube. The legit official from Lucasfilm. Here's the trailer. So not only did the people get to see it that paid their money to see it there, but the fans who couldn't make it get to see it. I love that. Take a page out of that book.
It's great that you bring that up because I have such an issue because I want to see these things at Comic-Con, but I do not have the money to go to Comic-Con. So it's like either make it cheaper for people to go to Comic-Con or don't get upset when people leak stuff online,
Right.
I mean, you're charging too much money to go. And just in a second, that clock's going to go off for you guys about 9 times because it's an old grandfather clock. So if you can't hear me, I apologize.
That's all right. All right, G95, man. Anything Skull Island wise?
Well, I guess what I'm really looking forward to about Skull Island is the fact that it's set in around Vietnam.
Yes.
That's really, like, I've been saying for years that we need more movies set around the Vietnam era, or video games. I would love a Call of Duty. I don't play Call of Duty, but I would love a Call of Duty game set in Vietnam. That'd be pretty fucking cool.
It was called World at War.
Black Ops.
Oh, and Black Ops, right? It was Black Ops.
Like a mission or two, though.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. That wasn't Black Ops.
Okay, okay.
Give us a Black Call of Duty game that's strictly Vietnam, not all over the place.
Here's a Vietnam video game for you guys. It's called Shell Shock 2. It takes place in Vietnam, and you have to kill zombies. It's a very difficult game, but I got 1,000 game score on it. Bam! Took me a while, but I don't care. Anyhow, I'm sorry, way off topic there. But
and like you said with Monarch, I'm really looking forward to. I'm looking forward to how they set up Godzilla, because I think if they're going to set up anything, they're going to set up Godzilla and Skull Island.
That would kill me. I would go fucking crazy. Pardon the pun, ape shit in the theater.
Even if we see like some spines going through the water or something in the background or whatever.
Or them walking in the jungle and they see him sleeping, but you can only tell if you actually notice.
Oh my god, don't do it to me. Stop it.
But I guess what I'm about, like you mentioned that you were looking forward to Monarch, I guess what I'm looking forward to is kind of not so much that it's kind of a shared universe, but that this is like an organization that's been around for a while. That's kind of what I'm looking forward to, like kind of like Marvel has done with Shield and stuff, even though I haven't liked Agent Carter or Agents of Shield. But regardless, they've done a good job of setting up that kind of lineage, and I hope Legendary kind of follows suit with that kind of heritage that Monarch is supposed to have.
Yeah, I hear you. Chase, you got anything for that?
The cast of Skull Island. You got some really good, great actors there that are in this film. I'm excited for Tom Hiddleston and John Goodman. And Samuel Jackson. You got two Marvel characters in there. And then Brie Larson, she's just gorgeous. So I have a crush on her. So I'm excited to see her. But you got a number of great actors that are going to be in this film.
Academy Award winner Brie Larson. I mean, in a monster movie. Think about it like this, too. You had it back to back with Godzilla, and now this. You've had pretty astounding actors. Granted, you say what you want about Aaron Taylor Johnson and stuff. The kid's good, but the Olsen girl, Elizabeth Olsen, she's a great actress. She's great, and she didn't have a lot in that movie, but I loved every minute she was on there. Not like in Civil War, but
such a crush on her. She's one of my celebrity crushes.
I hear that. But and now you see Skull Island in that cast. That's incredible. I really just wish that, being that it is set in Vietnam, we're not going to get any of those characters in Godzilla 2 or King Kong versus Godzilla or Godzilla versus Kong, however you call it. But that would be cool. And I just hope that the trend continues and, maybe not cast Aaron Taylor Johnson. His story's done. But definitely bring back Dr. Serizawa because he has to be in Godzilla 2. I think him and the girl, I forget her name, it slips my mind right now. But
Juliette Binoche?
Yes. No. Was that her name?
I think it was Juliette Binoche.
Oh, his partner, right?
Yeah, I think it was. I think it's Juliette Binoche, and there's the clock.
Okay.
I think it's Juliette Binoche, but I know her last name is Binoche, but I don't know if it's Juliette or I think it's Juliette.
Juliette sounds right.
Yeah.
Well, bring them back. Bring them back. They're looking for Godzilla, the whole thing, and then they're looking for Godzilla, and they come across Skull Island, or Infant Island, or King Ghidorah, giant meteor hits the ocean. That's
a question I have for you guys. Knowing that Kong Skull Island is going to take in Vietnam, and Godzilla 2014 is 2014, how do you think this is going to expand the film? Like, it's going to be pretty much a prequel, if not a prequel necessarily, but almost like a prequel if it's in Vietnam. I'm just kind of thinking, how is that going to, where Godzilla 2014 is, how is it going to collide in, and then in the future, Godzilla versus King Kong, what's the cross point where they meet?
Where did they drop that bomb on Godzilla in the beginning of Godzilla 2014?
Was it? It should have been 1954.
Was it 54?
It was probably 54.
All right,
Yeah.
so then that's out. I was gonna say maybe the fallout from that. That's the catalyst
Yeah.
mutated Kong.
And then 1954 is way before Vietnam too.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
it's like,
We're still in World War II.
Where is all this going to cross over at some point?
Well, I think maybe we might be digging a little bit too much into speculation.
Yeah, I do that.
I mean, that's what we do here.
We do that all the time.
But there's a good chance that Kong Skull Island will have really no like hints of what's to come with Godzilla 2 or Kong versus Godzilla.
Maybe just reference the monsters he's going against or something.
Maybe.
At this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that seems logical. I mean, it'd be, I guess, a little bit weird for them to just start name dropping like Godzilla and Mothra and shit in a King Kong movie. It'd be weird for anybody but the diehard fans. I mean, not everybody knows this movie's coming out. Not everybody is it within this community that we have where, we know dates and we can recognize Godzilla movies just by the suit and stuff like that. Not everybody's like that. So it might be just a lot more of a, I mean, it's obviously a Kong movie, but it might not have anything to do with Godzilla or any ties to Godzilla 2 or other monsters or anything like that.
Well, I think
what's to come.
I think we're gonna get a name drop from Godzilla of Godzilla absolutely in Skull Island, only because of Monarch. Because
a name drop for sure, but I don't think I don't know if we'll get an appearance or a cameo or anything like that. That's.
Well, I think I think we're all probably in agreement that if they do a cameo type of thing, it's got to be just some spikes off in the distance. That just something swimming in off into the distance. I don't know. I think that
or a giant cocoon or something like that.
Oh my god, that would be nuts. That would be.
That's another thing too. Monarch So do we think that they're going to expand more on Monarch now for the rest of the films? Because for all we know, Monarch could play a huge role in the film where they may maybe capture Kong at the end of the film. I mean, maybe something like that happens. I mean, I don't want to think about that yet, but I mean, what role will Monarch really play that, it's obviously going to be Monarch that references some point of Godzilla and, Mothra, Rodan, or King Ghidorah, if any, but it's just thinking, what are they going to expand more on Monarch, or, who knows? Is Monarch this huge military facility?
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking there's definitely there's layers to Monarch. Maybe Serizawa doesn't know everything. His mission is to locate Godzilla. He might not know about Kong or Skull Island, but then there's those layers that you do know about all that.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe Samuel L. Jackson's actually a part of Monarch. You never know, And he's like, he knows.
Yeah, but what if Monarch is a corrupt organization and Serizawa and his partner don't really know what's going on?
Right.
I always kind of thought about that. What if Monarch, I mean, it could kind of make sense if they're a corrupt organization that experiment or are greedy for these giant monsters, I mean, I kind of think about that every other day. So it'd be cool to see where they take Monarch or what they do with it.
Yeah, I hear that. Well, we've come to that point in the podcast where when we have a new guest, I like to ask this question. G95 and myself have gone over this every single week. But like I said, whenever we have someone new, we ask the question. So, Chase, Megalon, let me ask you your opinions on Shin Godzilla.
Shin Godzilla. All right. The long version or the short version?
Hey, just go ahead, man. What do you think?
All right. So I'll give the long version then. So at first, I did not really care for it. I thought the design at first, from what it was leaked, kind of looked kind of silly. I didn't think it looked scary like everyone thought. I didn't think. I mean, the reason why I thought that was because I didn't understand why. I mean, other than the fact that they were going to make him highly irradiated and make him the biggest Godzilla, I didn't really understand why did he have all these layers of teeth. Why are his eyes spread apart? in some shots of the trailer and in the design they showed. I kind of was a little bit like, he just looks goofy. But now that I saw the trailer, and I mean, of course, there's still some parts of the look where I'm kind of iffy about. I have to say, now that I have seen him in action in the trailer and just a little pieces of him, I'm excited. The little kid in me is kind of jumping with joy because it looks like a very interesting film, and I've come to terms with what I've disliked about it. I mean, I kind of had to think hard about it because I realized there has been past Godzilla suits anyways that have kind of had silly looks to them. I mean, obviously,
Right.
Take G94, 84, for example. He had a silly look. But, I'm just talking about in the suit design of it. But I hope to see another trailer before they release, just to show us a little bit more. I felt like the trailer wasn't finished. I felt like this was just, here's what we got so far, and you guys will get what's coming later. I would like to see them show a little bit more to him. But I'm excited. There's been a lot of stuff going around with him regenerating his skin, and there was a toy leak actually the other day that I can't find a legitimate picture to. It's a very low-res picture, but I don't know if you've seen it.
I was looking for it when I saw you say something about it. I was looking for it. I couldn't find anything. I think they took it all down.
Well, I'll send it to you. I've posted a few times, but I can't find a high-res picture. But in the photo, it's an X Plus figure or something because it's 28 centimeters. And so I know it's a big figure, but there's no red in his body, and his arms are bigger, and he looks he doesn't look as deformed. So that was going around on Instagram, but I can't trace it anywhere. And I've sent it to everywhere I could, telling them about it, but no one's been responding to me about it. So I'm kind of like, what the hell? But I'll definitely send you the picture because I still have it. So I'm kind of interested to see. I mean, I hope. I mean, at this point, I'm like, I hope I'm not just being fooled by a crappy picture. I hope he does regenerate his skin, because that would be kind of cool to see. We haven't seen them really explore his regenerative, healing factors. So it'll be interesting to see where they take this. And I don't know if you guys heard this, but I've heard rumors that this is going to be a 2-part Godzilla film. I don't know if you guys heard this, but
I've never heard that.
Me neither.
You haven't heard that?
No.
Yeah. Well, Bucky Barnes, and on Facebook, he's over on Giant Monsters and Beyond, and Scott. I don't know his last name, but his first name's Scott. But I can pull it up later. But they were talking about it, and also I've been just Tumblr has really weird stuff, and I've just been hearing it and seeing it all over. I mean, I don't know if I believe that, but I do believe Godzilla will regenerate something in the film. I mean, I don't know. I guess we'll have to see when the plot comes, but I'm interested in the film now that I've come to terms with what is. And I hope, what I really want with Shin Gojira is I just hope it spawns more films for Toho.
I think that's all everybody wants, especially us in the community.
Mm-hmm.
So G95, anything you guys say before we sign off?
I don't know. I think Chase pretty much covered it with a lot of it. I mean, he feels the way a lot of us do. A lot of you obviously know that I love.
I'm gonna ask you guys a question. Do you guys think he will regenerate skin, or what do you guys think will be what about the plot to this movie? What do you guys think is going to happen?
Oh, we've done that. We've done that speculation. I think in what was our trailer reaction podcast? Yeah, if you go to the trailer reaction podcast we did, that was like our first one we did together. You'll hear all of our speculations on what we think might happen.
We've gotten pretty crazy with them.
Yeah.
But we pretty much both agree. Like, we have kind of differing opinions on the whole look. I really like it. G1 isn't that much of a fan of it. But we both agree that we're pretty sure at some point that Godzilla is going to totally regenerate.
All right.
Or we're going to see a full, I guess, a healed Godzilla at some point in the movie. Whether it's very beginning, very end, something like that.
I think
I would love a whole movie with this deformed, monstrous Godzilla.
Not me. I need him to get his head lobbed off in the first 10 minutes. Seriously. Everything we saw in the trailer is the first 10 minutes, and then his head comes flying off, and then boom, we've got Godzilla. The way we need it to be.
Especially if Toho wants this to be the Godzilla, you would think, if this is the Godzilla, would they really design other Godzillas after this if they want it to be the Godzilla?
Well, look, like I said on Saturday, I think they're up to something. I honestly think we're all in for a surprise, and I'm going to stick to that because it's such a divisive Godzilla. It's divided the fandom. You love it, you hate it, you're on the fence with it. I don't like it, but I don't hate it. And like I said, like in the very first podcast we did, me and G95, I don't know the reasoning behind it, so I can't hate it for that. I don't like the way it looks, that's all. But I'm not going to shit the movie like, fuck this movie. No.
Well, I didn't like the way the Godzilla looked in Son of Godzilla as a kid, but I still love that movie.
Here's the difference between what the suits were and what this is. This is intentional. Those were just suits like, let's just rush something real quick. This is an intentional thing. This is a story plot. And so...
that's a good point.
It's completely different. So that's why I'm like, okay, I don't like the way it looks, but I want to know why it looks like that. That's the interesting part.
Would you guys be if they never even once mentioned it? If he was just looked like that and no one even pointed it out.
Don't even bring up that he's radiated or anything.
You're making me. My heart just went. This is that revenge for the fucking Jason Todd podcast.
I think so. Finally.
This is the revenge. It just got me all flustered, dude. I would seriously. I'd buy like 2 copies and then I live stream on the G Show. We'll probably lose all of our fucking likes, but I'll live stream me burning them. Oh, you don't want to give me an explanation, right? Take that shit! I'd break them.
I would completely never believe anything I read coming from Toho ever again. Any article, if they come out and say anything from anyone making a Godzilla film, I would not believe it because I'd be let down completely. My trust would be gone.
No, I don't think Toho's that crazy. I think we're definitely going to get the explanations we either want or don't want, but we're going to get an explanation regardless.
Well, they are crazy, but not that crazy.
Exactly. Well, listen.
They're too happy, but...
Yeah. Listen, I want to thank you guys for joining me today. This was awesome. And as I explained to every guest we have, Chase, you're always welcome back. Seriously. Just let us know. We get you on.
Anytime.
Yeah. So, this is the part where we say goodbye, but before we do, Chase, go ahead, man. Pimp your page. Let people out there know where they can find you on Facebook.
All right. I can do that?
Yeah, go ahead.
So where would I pin that at?
No, just you tell us. You let us know where we can find you.
Okay. Okay. You're not just posting comments. You can find me at, I think it's facebook.com/Megalon Kaiju. That is my Megalon page that I run. And I just started doing memes for Godzilla vs. All. And so I'm on there now, but I kind of keep my Facebook page a little bit private just because I don't want too many people into my personal business.
Right,
but,
that's fine.
So if you want stuff like that, to see my content that I find and photos I share, news that I have, Megalon on Facebook is the one where you'll find me the most at.
Perfect.
So.
Perfect. Well, and
so far, everyone that we've had on has had at least a little hand in the fucking empire that is Godzilla vs. All.
Yo, G95, we're like the Rebel Alliance, dude.
It's a great page. Just some of the reactions to people are just too amusing.
But I think that's the best part of that page too, and I love that my main man Shinji just doesn't give a fuck. That's it.
Mhm.
I love you, Shinji Punk. But G95, I guess tell people where they can find you.
The G Show on the weekends. I'm the weekend guy.
That is,
Funny / fucked up / cool stuff usually.
that
Most
is
of it.
that is correct. And you could also find him here with me on these G Show podcasts, and you can check that on the YouTube channel. I at G1, you can find me every day on the G Show. I'm always posting, and again, the YouTube page now, the G Show YouTube channel. We're there. Subscribe, like, comment on this. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you think about the Return of Godzilla coming out on DVD and Blu-ray officially. I cannot wait for that. Tell us what you think about whether or not you think we'll have some more monster action in Godzilla 2. Yeah, and then just like I said, man, negative, positive, it doesn't matter. Leave some comments, man. We love it all. So that's it. I want to thank my guest again, Chase. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight.
Thank you, and please bring me back for any other podcasts you have in mind. I'd love to do more.
Oh, we're gonna keep in touch. And G95, brother, I will see you tomorrow or something.
Yeah.
I'll see you on Facebook, Matt. Talk to you later.
Yeah, you too, man.
Huh? You too.
All right, guys. This is G1 signing out for the G Show. Peace.